guys, what's going on? Drewsy here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video and another, it's not really monthly meta, but quarterly meta update for 2022 for the first quarter. I know the first quarter technically isn't over yet, but I feel like honestly probably not a whole lot's going to change between now and the end of the month. So I felt like now that I have the time and I have the energy and the desire to make this video, I figured I would make it for you here today. So if you guys have not watched these kind of videos that I make on a couple of times a year, usually, I go through a tier list of what I think with all of the themes. And at the very end of the video, I will give you my tier list of where I think the best themes are for the game at this current time and date. So a couple of cards have been added, a couple of buffs have happened, and tweaks have happened to some cards over the course of the last few months. Not a ton of stuff, but some things. So we are going to talk about all of that good stuff today. So let's just get right into the video and start with, of course, the adventure theme, guys. The first theme that we always talk about because it's the first thing that we get access to in the game. So here we go. A couple of changes to the game. So, of course, some fairly significant nerfs to two specific cards in this theme. Ink and Craig and Inuit Kenny recently received significant decreases to their overall new kid chip damage. So they have been dropped down to A tier. Two new cards have been added to this theme and to the game for this year, and that is Arrow Tower and Full Moon Sparky. So Full Moon Sparky fell into A tier for me. I think that some people would put him in S tier. Now, Full Moon Sparky right now to a lot of people, not good level. I feel like once people get him leveled with his ability is actually pretty good. He's actually a pretty solid card overall. And I think Full Moon Sparky, once people get him more leveled, I think realistically he's actually an S tier card for this theme, in all honesty. This theme has really been hindered a lot with the S tier previous cards. Ink and Craig and Inuit Kenny were both S tier in my previous monthly meta that I made here. And those have now fallen out because losing 50% of their new kid chip damage really hurt them. Now, overall, the cards are still useful. I'm not saying Inuit Kenny and Ink and Craig are trash now. It's not what I'm saying. Obviously, they're an A tier. But they are not as good as they once were. Many of you may be surprised that Arrow Tower is an S tier. I think the value that Arrow Tower, wow, that's going to be harder to say than I thought. The value that Arrow Tower has is very good. It really is. So there are some big key things that we get from takeaway from the most recent weekend event when this card went live for the first time, and that is that Arrow Tower does not take damage or does not lose health unless it is taking damage from anything. So if it's just sitting there not doing anything and nothing is hitting it, it doesn't lose health. From what I understand, it seems like it lasts forever. The value that you get for 3 energy for a tower that's basically there defensively to last a long time until it starts taking legitimate damage is really good. It really is. Yes, it's a common card. Is it OP? Not really, but it's the value. The value is there. It's a cheap cost. It's a defensive card. It's not designed for anything other than those two things. And it's actually pretty solid. I did move Frontier Bradley from A tier to S tier. I think that Frontier Bradley's value continues to go up with some of these changes. I think just overall, fighters are just so good right now. And I feel like everybody that runs Adventure, for the most part, not maybe everybody, but Frontier Bradley is so good at so many parts of Lab. He really is. He's good in Legendary. He's great in lower arenas, especially in Silver League. You're going to see Frontier Bradley in almost every adventure deck you play in Silver, and most likely in Bronze as well. I'm honestly, I don't remember what arena he unlocks in, but Frontier Bradley is actually really strong right now. I think that people need to stop sleeping on him. I don't know if people are sleeping on him, but if they are, don't. He is a solid card overall, and I think he has value. That's really about it. Everything else, honestly, in this tier, I did not change anything else other than those changes that I just mentioned. So that's going to really do it for Adventure. Let's just move on to Sci-Fi next. All right, guys, quickly looking at Sci-Fi, I only had one change that I had in this tier list, or actually, no, maybe a couple. One for sure, I did move Hyperdrive up into S tier. It was an A tier previously. I think that Hyperdrive's value has really kind of escalated to the level that many people thought it would. Now, Hyperdrive getting that, the D cost to its overall cost, so now it's only 2 energy to play it. really increased its overall value. I think it's solid in just about every SciFi card. Almost everyone that runs SciFi either runs Warboy Tweak or Hyperdrive, or some actually run both. And I think that there's no reason to not do that. I think that the big focus of this tier, or of this theme, I mean, is to disrupt, either whether it's with freezing, poisoning, whatever, or hyperdrive speed, super speed, right? With Astronaut Butters gives you increased speed. Robo Bebe's ability lets her increase her overall attack speed. Warboy Tweak or Hyperdrive increases overall movement speed. Sizzler Stewart's ability makes him go faster, yada yada. And Commander Hat makes everyone beeline forward and do a whole bunch of damage on the unit that he has them target. So that seems to be the big focus of this theme, is either mind control, disruption, freezing, poisoning, or super speed. And the fact that you can now super speed far more often and far easier with Hyperdrive being a 2-cost, I think that that it has value at all levels of ladder, and people need to run it. It's really good for Team Wars. It's good for everything right now. So Hyperdrive deserves to be an S in my opinion. To be honest, I don't think I've changed really anything else. Now, a few of these cards have changed recently. Alien Clyde received kind of a rework a few months ago, and Marine Craig, I believe, also got a slight rework, I think, from the last time I made a video for this. Other than that, nothing else has really changed, but I don't think, honestly, that Alien Clyde and Marine Craig didn't move them. I don't think that they got really significantly better, but that's really about it. I think other than that, that's really all I have for SciFi. SciFi's pretty much kind of stayed where it's at as far as being a pretty solid theme. It's still a really solid theme, I think, in this meta. Especially, it's cheap cost. It's good cycle deck. It's good in both support, and it can be a main with a good support with it. You've seen a huge resurgence in SciFi and adventure again. That was an old common theme combination way in the beginning of the game, and it kind of fell off for a long time. And I think that it's really resurging back into it for a good reason. But I think SciFi's best paired with fantasy right now, in all honesty, especially with Gizmo Ike and good old Kyle of the Drow Elves, is a very dangerous combination, as well as some others. But that's just my opinion. But there we go. That's a look at SciFi. Let's go to Mystical now. All right, guys, so here we go with Mystical. And Mystical got 2 significant changes to cards that were actually very surprising to me. So Imp Tweak and Friar Jimmy. Now, I know you guys probably never thought I'd ever have this or ever say these words in the long stretch that I've been playing this game. Friar Jimmy's been bad. Friar Jimmy's good now. Is he great? No. Is he good? Yes. His healing is insane. It is. It really is. Don't sleep on his heal, guys. Really don't. Friar Jimmy is a solid card. I actually had fun playing Friar Jimmy. I know it hurt, like your ears are bleeding right now just hearing those words, but I mean it. When I played that stream after the buffs or the changes to Imp Tweak and Friar Jimmy's fun to play now. Is he an OP card? No. Is he solid and can be situationally useful? Yes. The overall healing of the main focus of Mystical has always been healing, right? Hallelujah, Regeneration, Angel Wendy, Friar Jimmy, Priest Maxi, Jesus. All those cards have healing. Witch Doctor technically can heal itself with his ability. There you go. So with all of those potentials for healing, Friar Jimmy now is better. Period. He was C tier. He's A tier now. Imp Tweak was B tier. I moved him to A. I think Imp Tweak is great for situational use like he was before, but his situational use now is changed significantly. And before, you were pulling a random card, right? It wasn't, you weren't guaranteed at what you got. Now you have a guaranteed pull with the card. Granted, it's whatever the furthest away target is, and that includes flying. Please, keep an eye on that. But Imp Tweak, the fact that he can pull a pesky backline unit to you that you can then now deal with properly is very good. Is Imp Tweak OP? No. But his situational value increased significantly with his change. Therefore, he's more valuable. He's better than he was before. Everything that was an A tier in this theme stayed the same. Everything else in this theme, in my honest opinion, has stayed the same. Nothing else has changed other than those 2 cards, because obviously they got changes. So Mystical's still very strong. One of the best themes in the entire game. There you go. That's all I got. Let's just move on to fantasy now. All right, guys, for fantasy is going to be pretty short and sweet. Nothing changed. I did not change any cards on this theme as far as order from what I had in the previous video. I think that everything kind of stayed where it is. All the S tier cards are still S tier to me. All the A's are still A's, yada yada. I don't think anything, none of these, I don't think any cards in this theme has received any kind of changes. The only thing I will say is that I think Stan the Great, I moved him to A tier after his buff that he received a little while ago now. But Stan the Great is, in my opinion, is flirting with S. I think that people underestimate how much better he is now. He's one of the better commons in the game. He really is. If you're really like, I really need some common cards, and you're playing this theme, he should be the #1 common that you focus on in your deck, in all honesty. The only other one I would consider for a common that I would focus on would probably be Labar Jimmy. I know some would say, Druzy, what about Blelf? Well, Blood Elf Bebe still has some value, but she's nowhere near as good as she once was. Paladin Butters is also fairly solid. I know he's an A tier as well, but honestly, the best common card for fantasy right now is Stan the Great. I think his debuff that he gives with his charge ability, that basically he lowers their attack, is good. His overall base stats are pretty solid again now. Is he OP? No, he's not. But he's better than he was, and I think he's flirting with S tier. But he is a solid card. He's doing really well for the fantasy theme. And that's really about it. I mean, again, not a whole lot changed here in my opinion. So we're going to go on now to the good old superhero theme now. All right, guys, looking at heroes, same kind of deal as fantasy. I didn't change any cards here either. I don't think any cards really changed, in all honesty. Other than member berries allegedly got tweaked. Doesn't feel that way. Member berries are still as good as they were. They're still broken. They still have mechanics that don't work right. They're still really good. That's really about all I got. It's still a solid theme. It's still a great theme overall. Still plaguing this game. Everyone's playing superheroes right now. I don't feel as cool playing them anymore. I feel like now I don't even want to play the theme because I feel like I'm just giving into what everybody else is playing. It's kind of one of those, if you can't beat them, join them thing, right? And I feel like every time I play superheroes, I'm just playing into what the meta is. Those that have seen my content over the years know that I try to focus not completely on the meta. Yes, obviously I'm going to play some cards that are meta, that are based on what other people would play in the meta, but I like to try to play a little bit more off meta than some do. And now superheroes are so meta right now, I feel like I shouldn't play them, and that hurts my soul because I love superheroes. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really got much else. Superheroes are still really good, and yeah, nothing really changed. So that's really about it. Well, let's go into neutral now. All right, guys, looking at neutral, I did make a few changes to neutral since at least one card got changed in this theme, and that was Woodland Critters got a pretty significant change to its charge cooldown time. So its charge comes back significantly faster, which actually makes Woodland Critters a lot better. Woodland Critters is still a very situational card, however. Remember, like, you can still cancel it. You can still hit it with a power bind. You can still just, cancel it out directly, yada, yada, yada. So Woodland Critters can be dealt with. There are plenty of ways to deal with Woodland Critters as far as counters to the card overall. But I still think it's actually a pretty solid card. Now, some might say, Druzy, I think maybe it should be S tier. I think because there's so many ways to deal with it, and granted, you could argue that you could deal with almost any card. I think that it doesn't quite make it to S. But I think if you really play it right, or you build a deck centric around it, you can easily make this argue to be an S tier style card. I moved cows up from A to S because cows are just... Nothing changed to cows recently. Like, there was no nerf, there's no buff or anything like that. They're just really freaking good. I mean, they're good everywhere. They're the new Douglas of the game. They're really annoying, but they're good. They're good. They're great in Team Wars. I mean, every time cows are in Team Wars, look out. Like this last weekend, that as of me recording this, there was a cows involved in that weekend event, or in that Team Wars. And man, cows are tough to deal with. You got to really focus on dealing with them or they're going to put in a lot of pain all over you. They're plaguing lower arenas. They're a menace to this game at times. Not so much in Legendary Arena. Once you get to certain tiers of Legendary, cows kind of fall off. Unless you have them at level 6, and then you see them all. Then everyone that has almost level 6 cows pretty much plays them at PvP ladder in Legendary Arena. I'm not saying everybody, but more times than not, they're going to. And for good reason. They're still good. They're still viable. They're definitely viable level 6 in Legendary. So cows, good, deserve to be an S in my opinion. Everything else kind of the same. Not much has changed. So that's going to do it for themes, guys. Nothing else really significant there. Let's just go on to what I think the best theme is for currently right now in the game. And honestly, guys, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but nothing has changed in this area either. The best theme of the game currently to me is still superheroes, followed by mystical, followed by sci-fi, fantasy, and adventure. Adventure just got worse. You could almost make the argument that neutral is better than adventure now. That's a stretch. I still feel like adventure players are still out there. There are still plenty of people playing adventure, even at top tier ladder, because adventure has a very, again, as I've stated many a times with this theme, they are a top heavy theme. The cards that are good, but then there are a lot of really bad ones in adventure. A lot of the rares are really bad, in all honesty, in adventure, and some of the epics don't feel very epic either, but that is made up for in other areas. So adventure still has validity in this meta. It's not a completely dead theme, but it's close. It's not as strong as it once was, and all that kind of stuff. Superhero still, primo best theme. Almost everyone plays them. I mean, again, it's one of those, if you can't beat them, join them. Mystical is the best hands down theme as far as supporting theme. The second best supporting theme in my opinion is fantasy. Fantasy has really great support style cards. Rum and Tweak, Kala Drow Elves, just to name some. There are others, but those are really good support themes, and they have two direct the only real direct cancel anymore, as well as Cock Magic still has validity and just wiping cards out. And then you look at sci-fi. Sci-fi, in my honest opinion, is really flirting with mystical as the second best theme. And the main reason for that is just because it's getting played a lot more, because people are really utilizing the fast cycle of it, and paired with numerous other with almost any theme, it's easily the second best. It's a good support theme. It's a good standalone theme. It has a lot of cards that are very good situationally. It has a wide variety of cards that can be played in a wide variety of different deck suggestions or deck builds. So I really like where sci-fi is right now, but I also don't like where sci-fi is right now, because I seem to see it a lot, and things like that. So I mean, I think as far as balance, will this game ever be fully balanced? No, it really won't. You can't do that in games like these. There's never complete and total balance. But I mean, I will say this game seems to be a little bit slower about balancing things than some other games does. But it is what it is. I don't feel like any significant changes have happened within the meta. Some cards have been adjusted that have been kind of surprising changes, to be honest, but nothing super meta altering recently in the last few months. So therefore, the game's kind of still in the same position that it was a few months ago. And that's just my honest opinion, guys. But what do you guys think? You guys always like debating and leaving your comments in these style of videos, and many of you really like these style of videos, so I'm going to try to keep doing them at least once every 3 months. I don't think I will do this every month, but because honestly the game doesn't change enough significantly for me to do it on a monthly basis, in my honest opinion. I know Federo does do this on a monthly basis. More power to him. In all honesty, I don't think there's enough significant change to do that. So there we go. There is the monthly meta update, even though it's not technically monthly, here on the channel. So again, let me guys know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for the support, for the love, all that good stuff. I appreciate all of you. And until next time, guys, you know who it is.